Hey everyone, welcome to Geeking Out, the podcast in which we dive into the career journeys of some of the amazing humans in tech and geek out on topics like software development, DevOps, observability, reliability, and everything in between. I'm your host, Adriana Villela, coming to you from Toronto, Canada. And geeking out with me today, I have Cortney Nickerson. Welcome, Cortney.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. When I was looking at guests to bring on for the next season, I'm like, how have I not had Cortney on yet?
Yes, actually, I think you said to me, you should be on my podcast. Again, that was what you said to me. Where were we? We were at Rejects, I think, at the last KubeCon.
Oh yeah,
You're like, you
Rejects.
should be
That's
on my
right.
podcast again. And I was like, I haven't been on it. And you're like, wait, what? Wait, how's this possible? And I was like, I don't know, but I've seen like every episode. I feel like I've been on it, but I haven't been.
And finally, we made it happen. Yay.
Yes, we did.
So, and where are you calling from today?
Today, I'm calling from Farmington, New Mexico. I spend most of my life in Spain, just outside of San Sebastian, the Basque Country, but I am home visiting my parents in New Mexico today. So yeah.
Well, we're going to start with some lightning round questions or
okay.
breaker or whatever. I used to call them lightning round, but sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're not. So icebreaker. We'll let the wind blow as it may.
At your own pace questions.
Yes, at your own pace questions. I like that. Okay, first question. Are you left-handed or right-handed?
Good question. Writing, right-handed. But batting in softball, left-handed.
No way. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it throw people off? Like when you're batting left-handed? Because I mean, there's so few left-handed batters.
Lefties. Yeah. Actually my dad coached me in sports my whole life and he's left-handed. And so he used to stand in front of me to do things. I'd stand behind him and mimic what he was doing. And so in almost all of my sports, I'm better left-handed. So basketball as well. I spent more time dribbling with my left hand because I was mimicking my dad, layups on the left-hand side, like shoot, jump shot left-handed, batting softball left-handed because I was mimicking my dad. Yeah.
That is so cool. Do you catch also like, well, I guess if you're left-handed, catch with your right?
So I bat left-handed, but I pitched right-handed.
Okay.
It catches my left, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that was also because the first person who started teaching me how to pitch, my dad was the catcher, and he didn't know anything about pitching. So he had somebody work with me the first time, and they were right-handed. So I'm one of those people. It's like, oh, well, that person does it this way, so I guess I do too. So depending on what you're showing me how to do, I might do it right-handed or I might do it left.
That's awesome. It reminds me like, because I'm left-handed, but I mouse right-handed, and I couldn't even fathom mousing left-handed. My mom was left-handed, but my dad is the computer guy, and he's the one who showed me mouse for the first time, and he is right-handed. So I think I just
same thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So cool. I also find like, you mentioned them showing sports, like you were shown left-handed way, so you gravitated towards that. I remember at one point I took squash lessons, and this was as an adult, and I had attempted racket sports, and so I use my left hand dominant. So it always throws people off whenever like they try to show me sports stuff, and they're
doing the other way.
Yes. And then I'm the lefty. I'm like, can you show that for left-handed people? And it always throws people off.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's cool. Love it. Okay, next question. Do you prefer iPhone or Android?
Android, 100%. I use a Mac for work, but Android for a phone. Absolutely.
Okay. That falls into my next question. Do you prefer Mac, Linux, or Windows?
I'm a MacBook user. But I think probably because I came from the non-technical background. And so it was like, oh, Mac is great for design and it's great for a bunch of other things. And then I just kind of stuck with it.
That's great. Okay, next question. Do you have a favorite programming language?
I love this question because the first time I was asked if I knew any programming language, my answer was, I know HTML, because that was all I knew. Now that time has gone by, I've learned some other programming languages, but to this day, my favorite language is always going to be HTML because I did not realize how stupid I sounded when I answered that way. But also it's like I'm aging myself, but I had MySpace and that's why I know HTML. So like it was my first language and I'm proud of it.
That's great. That's great. my first dabbling into HTML, I went wild. Like, do you remember the blink tag in HTML?
Yes.
I used that with reckless abandon. and I like threw a bunch of animated GIFs on the website.
Of course. Of course.
It was the tackiest, most useless, like, but so glorious in so many ways.
Underneath it all, you're like, HTML isn't really a coding language, but I still love it.
It holds a special place in my heart. I dabbled in HTML back in the day. I found it when it was paired with CSS, things looked pretty, but I hated the fact that it never looked the same in every browser. And then I just got really mad and gave up.
Frustrated.
I'm like,
yeah.
No. Bye-bye, I'm doing back end.
I only had access to the internet at the public library. It was like one dial-up modem. You had like maybe basically 30 minutes because there was such a long line of people who wanted to get on. Yeah. That like I don't even think I had time to recognize whether it looked the same anywhere else. It was just like, oh cool, I've got a space.
Well, I would say even back in the time of dial-up modems, I don't even think we had like that many options with web browsers.
Yeah, no, there wasn't a lot. There was.
Do you remember Netscape with the flashing N?
Yep. And Yahoo.
Ask Jeeves.
Oh, I was just talking about Jeeves the other day. I was like, whatever happened to Ask Jeeves? I just had that conversation the other day. I was like, now everybody just asks Google or ChatGPT, but didn't anybody hear Ask Jeeves? And half of the meeting was like, oh yeah, and the other half was way too young.
Oh my
way
God.
Too young to be asking Jeeves anything. And I was like, okay.
That is so funny. I just remember like Ask Jeeves was the go-to, and then all of a sudden people started using Google, and I can't remember like in my brain when, I switched to using Google.
Yeah, like, me neither. It did just happen, but Jeeves was like, and he was so cute. Like their little logo guy was so cute. Like a little butler.
That's right.
Just take care of all your stuff.
Brings back memories. That and the dial-up noise.
Yeah.
I used to have that as a ringtone for when my dad called.
Oh.
But now my phone is always on silent, so I don't really get to enjoy my ringtones.
Yeah, my phone's always on silent also. We should bring ringtones back.
I know,
or at least the dial-up
yes.
modem ringtone. The rest of them maybe not, but that one's like a nice nostalgia to it.
It is. It probably like hurts the ears of the young ones when they hear it. They're like, what is that noise?
What is that? Yeah. What is that?
Okay, next question. Do you prefer dev or ops?
Ops. For sure. Yeah. I think I've got a lot of reasons for it. But yeah, ops.
Do share if you're up for it.
Yeah, well, my first job in tech was actually doing cold calls to people about a DevSecOps tool. And so I spent a lot of time talking to devs specifically because the whole concept, it was a shift left security concept. And the number of times I just heard over and over, because everybody wants developers to do everything, right? And it was just like And if I talked to somebody from the ops space, most of the time they were trying to push it off onto a security team. They were never trying to push it off on devs. They were always trying to push it off on a security team. But almost like they had this whole, I already pushed a bunch of stuff off on devs and I don't want to have to like get yelled at by them again, and I don't want to talk to them, and so it's just better like security team, you need to talk to security team. And I was like, oh, okay. But specifically, it was that I was constantly hearing devs be like, oh, everything shift left, shift left, shift left. I do agree with them that so many things are shift left, but also it just happens to be the where they're situated in the pipeline, right? It's like, well, things need to get started in one specific way, and like you're the starting point. And so I personally adore devs who have moved into the ops space and being in the cloud native space. There's so many of them. Like I used to be a dev, and then some of them got stuck having to figure out how to package their own things. Other people just kind of took more of an interest into this whole space. And I just find those particular people that have moved into ops from dev to be incredibly knowledgeable because they've done it all now. Right.
Yes.
And so friendly and so helpful, and oftentimes the most active in community spaces. But also, if I had another option, I would inevitably pick the QA people. QA folks bridge the gap for everybody. I always am like, they should be the platform team because they have had to make everybody communicate with each other, and they feel everybody's pain. They're like innately empathetic, and they're stuck in the middle all the time.
Yeah.
And they try to be helpful, and they never think that they know the answer, even though a lot of times they do. And they dabble in everything a little bit, but don't want to step on anybody's toes, and they really listen. And so if I had a third option, I would pick QA. I think QA folks are highly underrated.
I love that. That's such a great take. Yeah, I mean, I started my career after university doing QA.
See?
Yeah, and it was, like that's what was available at the company I joined, and it gave me some really good perspective. I had wanted to go straight into dev, but they got me into QA, and I learned some things along the way. I have to say, I learned patience.
Yeah,
that was one thing. Yeah. I feel like QAs carry a lot.
Yes.
A burden of sorts, right? Because like they're the ones being pressured at the end of the day, like pass the test, pass the test, pass it. It's like, no, it's not working.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
No, and pressure is a privilege, no matter where you are in life, I think. But also they carry a lot of silent weight from everyone around them, and oftentimes they are doing the glue work that holds things together and makes things possible for both sides. So they're actually my favorite.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay. Yeah, thanks for sharing that perspective. Okay, next question. Do you prefer JSON or YAML?
YAML. Definitely YAML. Also, I was DevRel for a project called Monocle for a bit, and created the slogan, "We love YAML, so you don't have to."
That's so clever. I love that.
So by default, it's got to be YAML, because that was my slogan. I made stickers and everything. It was like, "We love YAML, so you don't have to." Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, next one. Do you prefer spaces or tabs?
Tabs. Yeah, tabs. But this is also PTSD from loads of years working in Word docs, where spaces never come out the same. If everybody is spaced on their own machine, and all of a sudden you use it in some, like if somebody was using Windows and they send you that same Word doc, but you're in a Mac, and all of a sudden everything's out of whack, and tabs would stay the same. So this is.
I'm there for consistency. I love consistency. Yeah, it's frustrating when you when you get like the different formatting based on the OS that you're running. It's like aggravating to say the least.
So aggravating. So aggravating. Or when you have something in a format that works, and then you send it to somebody and they open it in like a Google Drive, and all of a sudden you're like, what happened? That's not the font. That's not this. That's not that. That's the space. Oh, so aggravating.
Hey, 2 more questions. Do you prefer to consume content through video or text?
I'm a text person, actually. I do I do watch a lot of videos, but inevitably I will turn on the video and also read the transcript.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's me. And so sometimes I'll get engrossed in the transcript that I totally stop watching the video.
Yeah, I much rather like transcript, closed captioning. Like I love
Yeah,
captions. Like if I
me too.
forget to turn on the captions, or like someone at home forgets to turn on captions while we're watching TV, I'm like, turn on the captions.
Yeah.
And all three of us at home are like addicted to having the captions on when we watch TV.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm that person. I prefer text. So I guess this is also aging me. I'm certain anybody like
Oh
5 years
no,
younger
no.
or less would be like, oh no, video, are you kidding me? Who reads?
I do wonder. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because my daughter like hates reading, and I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't care, because like the amount of cool shit she learns on YouTube is
Yeah,
incredible. Like she was just telling me all this like stuff. Like she follows like astronomers and cosmologists, and like she's learning about dinosaurs. I'm like, okay, I don't care that you don't read books, because you're learning cool shit on
tons of
YouTube.
stuff. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
tons of stuff out there. But I am the person who's like, oh, that video looks cool. And then we'll open the transcript and totally stop seeing anything that's going on in the video and just like be engrossed in the transcript.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think part of it is just I learn better that way. If I hear it, okay, but if I read it, it sticks with me longer.
Yeah. It's like
So
that visual aspect of the
yeah,
words right on the page. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm the same way. I find videos too distracting. I'm too ADHD for it.
yeah.
Like I start watching a video and then they'll say something and my mind wanders. And then I'm like, shit, what did they say again? And then I'm finding myself rewinding.
I do that as well. I do that as well. Whereas if I'm reading it and my mind goes off, and then I come back to where I was
Yes,
reading,
yeah.
like I
It's a
haven't
lot
lost
easier to
my
come back
spot.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Same. Yes.
Also, this attributes to the massive number of just excessive browser tabs I have open. That when I force myself to stop, like once every 6 weeks, and go look at them, I'm like, what was I on this page for? Like, why in the world did I go on this rabbit hole of a tangent? And I'll have like 4 browsers in a row that like clearly are all there because I went from one to the next down some rabbit hole, but I can't fathom why I was there. It's like it's been 6 weeks since I opened this, and it was really important to me at that time, and I can't remember why now. It's astounding that I do that, but I learn more, I guess, reading than watching.
Yeah, I feel you, and I can very much relate on the browser tabs. Like, and even when I start with like a fresh slate, fresh browser, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be good. And the next thing I know, I've got like 20 tabs open in the span of 10 minutes. I'm like, what happened?
How does this happen? No, and I had a whole bunch of browsers. Like I go through this very odd anxiety where it's like I know I need to close these tabs, and I know they're pointless, and I know I haven't looked at them for weeks. But if I accidentally close the whole thing, it's this like overwhelming anxiety. Oh my God, I need to get it back. And then I have to stop myself and be like, Courtney, just let it go. You don't need to do the command to bring it back up. Like there's no reason for this. It's slowing everything down. Why? But it will sit with me. And then I won't restart my computer for a while because I'm like, just in case it comes to me what was in a browser tab that I needed. It's a weird anxiety that I don't know why I have it, because I have yet to like not be able to find something again. but it's still there.
There's something comforting about keeping it. I also like my computer, even it screams at me, like my work computer is like, you haven't rebooted in 10 days. I'm like, mm-hmm. I'm like, but all the stuff I have here is so important. And then
So
things
important.
just start to slow down. I'm like, okay, I have to start my computer again.
No, I do the inevitable. Do you want to reopen all of these tabs again? Yes,
Oh,
I
I'm like,
do.
oh yeah.
But also
Yeah.
there should be like a check mark on that dialog box that's like, always don't ask again. Right? It's always going to be yes, so stop asking me.
Okay, final question. What is your superpower?
Probably being willing to just say I have no idea about stuff all the time. and ask for help. I don't think I saw it as being a superpower. I used to think that it was like me just being inevitably dumb. And now I've realized it's actually empowering for me because it's allowed me to adapt and change to things in my life over and over and be reborn professionally and personally because I'm willing to say that I don't know, but also it's liberating for the other people who are around me, so that they can say they don't know too.
Yeah.
So that's probably it. Just being so blatant about, I have no idea what you're talking to me about. Can you explain it to me like I'm your grandma or your mom? Because I probably could be. Like,
honestly, like I used to be so intimidated in meetings to say like I don't know, but now I'm just like, just for my benefit, can you explain what that means? And as you said, it gives other people permission to like, oh, thank God, I didn't get that either. There's
yeah,
probably like a room full of people who have no idea what the fuck's going
no
on.
idea.
And
Yeah.
you just asked the question, please explain to me. It's great. It's liberating. I think this is a good segue into, our main conversation. I always love to hear about like the journeys of my various guests, like how they got into tech. Sounds like you've had an interesting tech journey. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. I actually didn't realize how strange it was or is until recently. I gave a talk at KubeCon Hong Kong,
Mm-hmm.
and my very dear friend Amit D'Souza, like the day before CFP closed for Hong Kong and Japan, was like, let's submit something. And we were just kind of, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I should. I'm doing DevRel. Like, I should. Why haven't I done this yet? And we were just kind of having this snarky back and forth conversation about things. And we submitted a talk about crossplanes, like crossplanes the answer. What's the question? And the whole thing came up just kind of like it's like snarky conversation about what people around us are talking about. And we made up a talk submission, and it was supposed to be a workshop, and we submitted it, and then it got accepted. And after it got accepted, it was like a week and a half later, because when CNCF sends you acceptance emails, it's like the same subject line, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations, you've been accepted, and it puts it in big letters, and that's it. And so I read this subject line, and I screenshot, and I sent it to him, and we were like, oh, yay, we're going to Hong Kong, yay. And it was just kind of like, ooh. And then like a week later, I get a message from my friend Atul, who was like, congratulations, this is amazing. And I was like, oh, yeah, my talk got accepted. Yeah, the schedule's out. Yeah, it's accepted. And he was like, and then I thought to myself, I should start looking at flights. So I open up the email to like look for more information, and it says Keynote in the first
Hot
paragraph,
damn.
but so far down that you don't actually see it on your phone, right? And you don't see it in the subject line. And it was like, wait, what?
That is
And
amazing.
it was yeah, it was really amazing. It took weeks for it to sink in. It was terribly overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my friend Amit was like, we both, neither one of us had noticed. It was just like, oh, woo. And then when we realized, it was daunting to me.
Yeah.
It went very well. We had a lot of fun preparing it. We submitted a workshop and ended up having to cut that down to 10 to 12 minutes, which is like an exercise
so
I had never done before. Right? It was like, we've got 90 minutes of content that has to be put into 12 minutes. I've done the exercise of, okay, we've got 15 minutes of content, let's turn it into 30, never the other way around. So that was daunting in and of itself. But after we gave the talk, it took me weeks to actually post anything about it. And a huge part of that was just in the small handful of years that I've been in tech, it's just been so fast and so extreme, and so much that I hadn't actually stopped to reflect on it at all. Because my first job in tech was truly doing cold calls. on the telephone for a Spanish startup. That was a DevSecOps startup. It was a web application security tool. It happened to be an agent that deployed everywhere. Now in retrospect, I'm like, wow, I know a lot of stuff about agents and a lot of stuff like, and for the whole AI world and MCP world and understanding the difference between the two, like this has served me incredibly well. But all of that came from making cold calls on the phone for a company that just needed an English speaker who could also speak to them in Spanish. And I happened to be an American living in the same town that they were in, and being curious. Right. So I'd get somebody on the phone and they'd finally not hang up on me and finally give me some sort of conversation. And then they'd say something that made no sense. And I'd go back to the team and be like, okay, so they said this and I don't know what else to ask. That team was so incredibly generous. It was my first experience with techies as well. Anything I asked, if I asked them to teach it to me, they did. Anything and everything. We ended up getting acquired by Datadog, which was also... I didn't know at the time that is what everybody aspires to have happen in a tech startup, is to then get acquired by some IPO'd company, because I had no experience with tech prior to that job. All of my life experience had been in totally different things.
What was like your original education background?
Yeah, I studied philosophy, international relations, and world religion.
No way.
So I have 3 degrees, but that's what I studied. It had nothing to do with tech at all. I grew up in New Mexico, 10 minutes from my parents' house where I am right now. There isn't really even cell phone service. Once you get out on the Navajo reservation, there's not a lot of service. It's gotten better, but a lot of times we'd drive across the reservation to go visit my grandparents in Utah. And you have to wait for the satellite to go over if you need to make a call. There's nothing. So it wasn't like I grew up in a place that had a lot of access to technology either. Dial-up internet was oftentimes at the library, and that's where you could get it. And that was about it. And so I just didn't have access to it. And when I went to college, I didn't go with my own computer. I was using the ones in the study hall because I was an athlete. And so we had access to computers there. And I remember they had Ethernet. And I had only ever seen and been around dial-up. And it was like, whoa, what is that? But my experience with that also is very limited. It was like I would use the computer when I needed to actually type a paper. And do schoolwork on it. Otherwise, all of research was Dewey Decimal System in the library because that's what I knew, and that's what worked for me. And I didn't have access to anything else, and nobody introduces you to it. It was just people who knew were in the know, but they don't realize that not everybody else is in the know. And then I moved to Europe, and again, no real access to it other than for emails and work stuff. So when I did my interview for this job, I had just had my son. And I had found a job that I really liked, but I had just had my son and I couldn't travel anywhere near as much with the newborn as what I had been doing. And I remember they asked me, how technical are you? And my answer sounds so ridiculous now, but at the time I was being very sincere. It was like, well, if the electricity goes off of my house, I can probably like restart and like configure my printer on the second try, but I can Google anything, right? Like I can figure it out. And turns out that was the answer that got me the job, because they were all devs who were Google when they don't know what's going on to find an answer. And that was the right answer. And they were like, okay, you speak Spanish, speak English, and you can Google anything. We'll hire you. Because they were in dire straits, obviously. But it was a massive change. Prior to that, I spent 10 years running international summer camps and language immersion summer camps with kids. We started off with 50 students and scaled out to 5,000 kids in 6 weeks, doing abroad programs and summer camps and half-day programs and random things. Nothing technical. I worked for some marketing firms that were doing marketing for big like big retail providers like Macy's or Marks and Spencer's or Samsung, which is like big retail, and doing marketing campaigns for them. I was the softball coach for the Spanish national team for a bit as well. So I had done nothing that was technically inclined to the world that I'm in now. And so after giving that talk in Hong Kong, it was just this moment of pause where it was like, do I actually belong here? It all happened so fast, and truly had to take a couple of weeks to just sit with myself and the insane imposter syndrome that happened of how am I even here? And how did this happen so fast? All of the amazing people around me who have helped me so much and explained so many things and are still so patient with me because I still don't, there's just so many gaps that I still just don't know. And it was very much this thought of, did I actually deserve to be there? And truly had to sit with myself for a bit and have this realization of, okay, so most people who are my age have been doing this for 20, 25 years. I don't fit into that group. There's a whole subset of people who've been doing this about as long as I have, who are like 20, 25 years younger than I am. I don't actually fit into that group either, but I've worked insanely hard. And so I guess just on the basis of just constant working at it, there is merit to that.
Yeah.
But I truly had to sit with myself for a couple of weeks to get to that point. And doing so was taking a moment to be like, how did I even end up here? And so my journey into this space was not a typical journey into this space. I showed up through marketing and sales, doing cold calls on the sales side of things, moved into marketing, went back into the sales and sales enablement, fell in love with the really techie stuff and just kept wanting to learn and doing a lot of self-learning and community stuff. I learned about Kubernetes first by writing the newsletter for the Data on Kubernetes community. My friend Bart, who lives nearby in Spain, he's like the other American who survived that long. There's not a lot of us who survived that long there. Being an immigrant from the US is a totally different thing than being in the US with immigrants, right? And I think for sure. Oftentimes a lot of Americans I know are like, oh, I'm going to expat. And it's like, oh, no, you're an immigrant. Like expat makes it sound really glamorous, but no, you're going to immigrate.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah, you can dress that up for social media all you want, but you actually give yourself a year and a half and you're suddenly going to be like, oh man, I'm an immigrant, and realize what that is and how much work that is as well, and appreciate things in a different way, I think. But yeah, he was there and he kind of stumbled into the Data on Kubernetes community and was like, I also know nothing about tech and you studied religion. And so let's pray together that we can get through this. It's very much, and for some reason I was like, okay, yeah, I had a newborn and I was doing cold calls on the phone, and started writing his newsletter and kept asking more questions about Kubernetes and got involved in the community. And then ended up in a DevRel role. That when they hired me also, I thought, why have these people hired me? I have no idea why they, like, I told them, I don't know how to do any of this. Why have they hired me? And then 3 years later, almost 3 years later, made the move into community role at Nirmata, which is where I am now on the Kernel project. So it's been a lot of just not knowing and being able to be like, I don't know this. Will somebody please help me? And realizing almost everybody will. And I think that's the astounding thing about the space, that in my experience, because I do have more experience in other industries than in tech still at this point in my life. That innate sense of, absolutely, I'll teach you if you're willing to put in some work, or I can see that you've been trying, let me help you. That doesn't exist at the same scale as it does here. And I think that's probably the first thing that I actually fell in love with, long before having even the notion that I might like the technical side of things. It was just the human factor of, oh, well, look at this poor girl. She's really trying, and she's trying to help us. And so, yeah, like, let's jump on a call, and I'll give you time. And time is the one thing that you can't get back. Right. And people in this space are just incredibly generous with it. And so, yeah, now I'm a techie for life, I hope.
I love that story. And you're so right about people's willingness to help out. Whenever I'm digging into something that I don't know super well and I reach out for help, I still force myself to reach out for help, but I'm always scared. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm an idiot. They're going to think I don't know what I'm talking about. And the patience, like, more often than not, people are super patient. They'll send me resources, they'll do follow-ups, and I'm so grateful. And I feel like cloud native, especially,
Yeah.
I think because, and specifically like cloud native open source, because of the nature of open source, there's so many contributors who are doing this as, many do it as part of their jobs, but many not necessarily, right? It's
Yeah.
for funsies, they enjoy it. And I think that's reflected in their personality and willingness to help, right?
No, it's incredible. Also, the refreshing thing about this space is that there's so much to learn. Like, nobody is actually an expert on all of it. And when I first started, I did not realize that. I just didn't have context to realize it either, the depth of everything. But the people who are the most expert remind people of this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they very much are like, oh, that's a great question, not for me, I'm an expert in this, let me introduce you to this other person who knows
Yeah.
way more than that, and let's learn together.
Yeah.
And there's always this undercurrent of, oh, I know the basics, so let me tell you that, but let's see if we can find somebody else and learn together, because I don't really know that much about that.
Yeah.
And that's phenomenal. I think that sets those people apart. It probably is why they're so amazing at what they do as well. But it's a constant. You come across people, I mean, they're just really, everybody knows who they are, and they know so much, but they constantly say, no, I know so much about this, but these other things I don't know about. Let's go learn about them together. And
Yeah.
that in itself is just really valuable, to the community space at large, I think.
Yeah, that's what I love about tech is, like, the sky's the limit. I mean, even, I'm one of those people who's been in tech for 20 plus years. It's coming up. Yeah, I've just hit 24 since I graduated school. I've been teching for a while. But like, the job I'm doing now is so wildly different from the job I started out with, or even like when you consider AI was like, you know, not necessarily top of mind, 5 years ago. And
Yeah.
now there are people who had no expertise in the area and are gaining expertise in the area. Like, it's such an opportunity for you to become an expert in a new area, I think, as long as you're willing to learn along the way.
Yeah.
And I think, we're rewarded for the desire to learn and keep up with tech.
Absolutely. The AI space is mind blowing. Actually,
I know.
like,
I started dabbling, like, I'm playing around with MCP servers. I'm like, there's so much I want to play around with. It breaks my brain in a good way,
in a good way, but also it's one of those things. It's like, I just don't have the time.
Right?
I have these
Yes.
things I need to do, and I really, really want to do a lot more of that. And where in the world do I find the time? The most lovely thing that has been said to me in a very long time, I was freaking out. I was like, I have so much to do. Where do these people find the time? And I said to my friend, Atul Priya Sharma, he graciously gave me some of his time, and I'd seen him everywhere. Like, The
Yeah.
week leading up to our call, it was like he was everywhere. He was giving talks. He was on YouTube. He was on LinkedIn. He was everywhere. And I said, thank you so much for your time, Atul. I'm really sorry. Like I have to go because I don't have time and I'm going to have to go pick up my son. I have no idea where you find the time. And he starts laughing. He's so sweet. He starts laughing. He goes, oh, Cortney, I still live at home with my mom. You are a mom. That's why I have time. You need somebody to take care of you and like basic things, then you would have a lot more time too. I don't know where you find the time. I've seen you everywhere this week, right? I hadn't said anything to him about I've seen you everywhere. It was just like, I have no idea where you find the time to do all the things you've been doing. And that was his responses. It was like, oh, I still live at home with my mom. Like she takes care of me when I'm not taking care of myself. I don't know where you find the time. And so every time I start thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I don't have time for all these things, I remind myself, Atul says that I'm doing just fine. He sees me finding time for a lot of things. And if he sees it, then it must be that way. I'm fine. Just stop pressuring yourself, Cortney.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's such an important thing to touch upon because, like, I'm not going to lie, like this week, I was having a major bout of imposter syndrome, a major bout of like, how is it that everyone else is doing like 5 gajillion things? And I'm like, I think I'm being productive, but it feels like everyone else is being like 20 times more productive than me. And also like, I don't want to burn out.
Yeah. I can't afford to burn out. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just a lot. And so I fall back on what Atul said to me. It was about 6 months ago, and I fall back on that all the time. It's like, stop. You're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. Other people see you finding time and they think that you're being really productive. Stop comparing yourself. Comparison is like the end of happiness. Just stop. Okay? You're doing what you can as best you can. Like take a breath. Just focus on what's going on. And if you don't find time, maybe you will next week. But I have that, like I dial myself back that way probably 3 or 4 times a day, right? It's like,
yeah, but it's so nice that you have like kind of that anchor to pull you back.
Yes.
And I think it's really important to have like kind of an anchoring thought or an anchoring mantra to like, I'm doing okay. Sometimes for me, it's like I cry to my husband. He works from home as well, so I'm like, I'll come down to the basement. Where like, I'm not feeling
therapy session.
Give me a hug. And that helps, honestly.
It helps so much. Yeah, it helps so much to have that. But also, Adriana, I think you don't see how other people see you.
Yeah.
You're amazing. You give back to the community. You're maintaining one of the fastest growing projects out there. You're constantly doing DevRel work and community work and all kinds of other things and giving time to people. And you have a podcast and you find some time to go bouldering. And it's just, right? Like take a breath. And
yeah, I need a reminder too. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the truth is, we're all, I think, incredibly hard on ourselves in general. But when other people tell me how they see me, most of the time I'm like, wow, I can't believe you see me that way. I have really, like, I must have stepped up my social media game, right? It's like, wow, I got everybody fooled here. But also there is truth to it, right? It's like, well, I actually don't post anything that I haven't done. And I don't always post all the stuff that I have done because I don't think it's actually worth posting, which you just posted the other day about self-promotion. It really hit home with me because there's so many times that I'm like, oh, no, I won't post it. It's not really like, oh, no, I won't post it. But yeah, when other people tell you how they see you, right? And I'm always like, well, it's not quite that, but also it's not that. It's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I try to hold on to those moments. They're few and far between, but I do try to hold on to them. For me, they're priceless for my mental health and to keep myself balanced, because it's like, okay, Like, you're being incredibly hard on yourself. There are other people who see the effort that you make and appreciate what it is that you get done. And if this week is less, it's less, and next week will be more, but like, be kind to yourself. So if you're ever like, I'm not being productive, you just give me a call and be like, Adriana, let me remind you that last week you were doing this and this and this. And like, I see you, I see your efforts. Like,
oh my
be
God.
a little bit nicer to yourself.
Good advice on this podcast. And you're right. I mean, even what you were saying, like, people see you in a, like, I think we are extra hard on ourselves. Even like when we look in the mirror, you know, even my daughter the other day, she's like, I look horrible. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what are you seeing that I don't see? And yet, you know, we tend to do that. I think women tend to be extra hard on themselves. I'm not saying men also aren't, but I do feel like women tend to be extra hard on themselves when it comes to this.
I think in different ways. I think men are definitely hard on themselves, but they're hard on themselves in very different ways than women, and they have different types of pressures on them. I think a lot of pressure that men feel, they put it on themselves, whereas women, we feel a lot of pressure that we haven't always put on ourselves. It's just innately there, and it's coming from external forces, and we don't, at least in my case, I don't always know how to handle that, or it takes me a while to figure out that, oh, like, that's not actually my criteria. It's somebody else's. Why am I feeling like I need to live up to that? I think men, a lot of times, they have the ones who are very hard on themselves have a very high criteria, right? And and so it's a different, the external internal factors, I think, are different. And then also women, we just compound it with our own internal dialogues as well. Like your daughter at the age that she is, being like, I look terrible. Oh my gosh. Like, I see photos of myself, and I come home to visit my parents when I was like 16, 17, and I'm like, dang, I was cute. like, like, if I had realized then that I was that cute, I would have taken over the world, but like, I didn't. and now it's late. And now I'm just this, and it's good.
You're taking over the world.
Yeah, different ways of taking over the world, but just perspective. And
it's so true.
Yeah.
I wanted to switch gears a little bit, because, you know, I want to, I love talking to other like working moms in tech. I feel like we need to have more of these conversations.
Yeah.
Certainly like when I had my daughter, like coming back to work right after mat leave, holy crap, I just felt like I sucked at everything. And, you know, in Canada, we get like a year of mat leave. I'd been away for a year. And so this extreme guilt of like, I haven't been productive. What are they going to think of me? And then having to like leave early because, well, daycare.
Yeah.
or leaving extra early because your kid has a fever and can't be at daycare.
Yeah.
You know, and you mentioned that you have a 21-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Yes.
And I can imagine how interesting that must have been.
Also, yeah, my home is bipolar. I've got a 21-year-old who I'm trying to like convince she's not 6, and a 6-year-old who I'm trying to convince is not 21. They keep me very, very preoccupied. But yeah, this is something I don't think we talk about enough. Parenting in general is difficult, and it has its own emotional things tied to it, and moms and dads both live that. But women working in tech, especially if you do take time off, things move so quickly in this space, right? And so if you actually take the time off to focus on yourself and your child and your family, and by the time you come back, the feeling of I suck at this is because so much has changed. It doesn't matter if you took 6 weeks or if you took a year. So much has changed. And there's this thought of I've advanced to this point, and so why am I all of a sudden behind again? And I think it's that you just feel like you have to catch up. And if it's
Yeah.
6 weeks or a year, but you've got that whole thing to catch up to all of the people around you who didn't take any time off and have just been living that learning curve because it's happening in real time for them. And figuring out how to manage that. And at the same time, manage the mom guilt of, I'm leaving my child at childcare.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The mom guilt of, I just left my child and I'm trying to get back into this other thing, whether it's career because I love it or something else, but like, I just left my child. There's a stigma to that, whether people want to admit it or not, there is. And there's an emotional feeling of that as well, whether you believe the stigma or not. It, like, you still feel the guilt of, okay, so I just left my child behind, on top of it to come take my career back over, and now here I am and I'm not up to date on anything, and so I suck as a mom and I suck at my career and I suck at everything going on in my life. And also it might have been 6 weeks, it might have been a year, but this body still is not mine. Right. And so I suck at that too. There's people don't talk about that because it's not a fun thing to talk about, but at the same time, there's so much power in it for everyone who actually goes through that curve and goes through that life experience, and for the people around them as well, right? Because in order to catch up, it requires a lot of support from other people, whether it's a spouse or a co-parent, partner, or in my case, my older daughter. It was like, can you please hold your brother? I just really need to finish this, right? And she so lovingly did. And that was a growth in our relationship as well. But for my colleagues, people who are around you, they also participate in that, knowingly or unknowingly. They're a part of that, and they can make that so much better and nicer for people, or so much worse as well. And so not having those conversations really takes away the possibility for people who are around women going through this to be able to be helpful and supportive.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they don't know what to do or how to be supportive because there aren't conversations around it.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah,
Right?
I mean, even when you're pregnant, a lot of people don't know how to act around you. Like, when I was pregnant, I swear to God, I got so mad because everyone's like, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, "What? I'm not an invalid. I'm not sick. I'm just growing a human. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'll tell you if I'm not okay."
Yeah.
I was a grumpy pregnant woman, I'm sorry to say. I'm like, "Just treat me normal."
Well, that's another thing, though. Exactly what you're saying. I had this whole phase with my son that it was like, I'm still me, right? Because all of a sudden you stop having a first name and you just become, in my case, I'm just Ethan's mom, to like a whole subset of the world.
Oh, yeah.
That I actually knew prior to being Ethan's mom. I have now just become Ethan's mom. Oh, look, there's Ethan's mom, which I'm proud to be Ethan's mom. It's not that. But also it's like, well, but that's like a facet of who I am. Actually, I'm Cortney, and I'm still a whole human being who's got like a whole like life and history long before I was Ethan's mom. And how does that suddenly get erased?
Yes.
Right. And it's totally erased for some people. And that is really hard. It's really, really difficult to just have a huge part of your being and existence just totally unrecognized because you have a cute kid.
Yep.
Right. And not to take away from my super cute kid, because he's super cute. But also, I'm more than just his mom, and that is very difficult. At least for me, it was very difficult to navigate. It's just like, can you please just call me by my name or not say anything at all? Because I exist, and again, these are things that I think happen universally. Everybody is like, how are you feeling, just like you were saying, right? Like, oh, look at you. How are you feeling? How's everything going? And everybody tiptoes around.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then all of a sudden, just like that, it's like, oh, you don't really exist that much anymore.
That's right.
How's the baby?
How's the baby? Yeah.
How's the baby? How's the child? How's the teenager? Which is great, and I love that people care. But also, it's like, can you also ask me if I'm doing all right? Because like also my kid's ability to be okay very much depends on whether I'm all right or not.
So true. So
Um,
true.
and so not having those conversations or just being able to say those things without worrying how they might trigger or affect other people takes away the possibility for others to recognize that and know that they probably should ask how you are and not just your new baby, or right, that you still exist and you still want them to ask about you, because I think a lot of people also think that you're so excited to be a mom that that's what you want to talk about all the time.
Yeah.
uh, and it's like, oh, look at you, that's because you're the dad and so you get a break. Or, oh, look at you, you're young, your parents got tired of talking about you once in a while too. It's like, and those things are fine, but not having those conversations doesn't allow people to kind of have that
Yeah.
context. So
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think another one that hit me when I became a mom was like coming to terms with being a mom. Like
yeah.
I could not for the longest time have that mom feeling. I'm like, I don't see myself as someone's mom. And to add insult to injury for my case, like I couldn't breastfeed my daughter. I had to rely on formula at an early age. And when my daughter was 2 months old, my grandma died in Brazil and I couldn't go to her funeral. And the minute I heard the news, my milk dried. Like I could just feel it go.
Oh yeah,
So, like, she was a formula fed baby. And first of all, like, the shit I got from other moms
of
for
course.
doing that
Yeah.
was like, it killed my self esteem. And then I'm like, great, I can't even provide for my daughter. I am a terrible mom because I can't breastfeed her. And so like that messes with you. The change in routine messes with you because you're like, I used to be able to do this. And now I am tethered to this human who depends on me for everything. And I have to wipe its ass.
Yeah.
It's very jarring. And like for me, I had postpartum depression as well. And I didn't even recognize it. It was my husband who was like, this doesn't look right. And, sought help, sought support from some of our friends to, help support me.
Yeah.
Um, and these are things that, like, when you're in the thick of it, you don't even notice. And
No, you're just trying to survive.
yeah, yeah,
I think one of the best things I've ever read about motherhood, it was about the fact that in war they use lack of sleep as torture, right? And so this is a very well studied way to
yep,
torture someone, is to just not allow them to sleep or have quality sleep, or just let them barely fall asleep and then wake them up.
yep, yep.
And
Yeah,
that
and that
was
is
a
that fucks
direct
with you.
correlation of having a newborn as a mother.
Yeah, well,
And
I
it
mean,
was
and
like,
that's why I was laughing when you mentioned the lack of sleep thing, because I'm like, oh my god, yes, I can complete yes.
yeah,
That that
well,
is that is a form of torture.
it is a form of
Absolutely.
torture. And people who are around you who are sleeping well, at first, it's like, okay, well, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. But after a few months, it's like, truly, I would wake up and it was like, I'd look at my husband still laying there asleep and really just despise him, because it was like, how can you not hear this child?
Mhm.
Like, how are you not? And he truly didn't, right? How, I still have no idea, but it was
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
infuriating that he just didn't wake up, right? And at first it was fine, but after a few months it was just so unbearable, that I left the room and just moved into totally different rooms that I wouldn't have to see him not wake up, because I just wanted to strangle him every time, like kick him to wake him up once the baby was asleep, just so that he would have some idea of what it was that I was living through. The number of times that I just felt insanely inadequate, because also you're given a human being that you have no idea what they actually need.
Yep.
I would look at other women around me, and also I was my daughter, I adopted her when she was 2.5, so I didn't do the newborn thing with her. I did the 2 and 3-year-old thing with her, which was
always fun.
Yeah, and also I was clearly much younger, and so it was just like, oh wow, look at this,
vibe.
okay, wow, look, I actually adopted a dinosaur. Wow, like, wow, what is going on? But my son, he showed up 10 days late, and so the time that my parents had allotted to be there with us was cut short because he showed up late. And he was born, and then they suddenly left, and here I was living in Spain, no extended family, no community around me, no nothing, dealing with all of it all by myself. And my husband would get up and he'd go to work, and he was very sweet and whatever, but he'd come home and I'd be like, please take the baby. Yep. Because I was breastfeeding. It was like, and then he'd try to give me a hug and I'd be like, don't touch me. But it was because I constantly had somebody attached to me.
Right? Yeah, that's another thing too. At that point, you're like, no.
Overstimulated. Like, I understand you just want to give me a hug, but like, please don't, because like, oh my gosh, I just can't. And it took everything I had to just get through that. And I'd see these other women. I was supposed to go to a breastfeeding class like a couple of weeks after I'd had my son. And I remember I got up and I did not feel like being up because I hadn't slept at all. But it was like, okay, I'm going to drag myself to this thing. And I got up and I got dressed, and then he puked on me. And so I changed my clothes, and then I got him totally dressed. And then he had one of those explosive, like, just shit shows up the back of his like onesie. And it was like, we're already running late. I'm never going to make it. And I like bathed the child and like redressed him. We finally get out of the house. I show up. Everybody's there. There's like a whole room of women who are just very serene and very motherly in like the stereotypical way. And they're all seated doing stretches and like breastfeeding their baby. And I show up, I'm like scattered. My hair is everywhere. I have no idea what I'm even wearing. I haven't showered for a week because like, when am I going to, like, I just couldn't, it was everything it took for me to just breathe and function. And here they all are, they're all put together, like all calm.
Infuriating, right?
And I showed up like 45 minutes late, so there was like 20 minutes left. And the whole 20 minutes I sat there, my son was crying, right? Everybody else's baby's super calm and they're doing tummy time. They're like all fine. And my kid is crying. I'm a like tattered mess. And the 20 minutes I was there, I was just truly counting down the time to be able to leave because I was holding back tears. I just was like, I should not be doing this. I was not made for this. Clearly, I am looking at a room of women. I was not built for this. This is not what I was built for. Got home and got through the door and had my son on a blanket and dragged him crawling while I was crying into the living rooms, that if I could like fell asleep, my husband would think that we were just there because I was so overwhelmed with everything. And here, a year and a half later, taking my son to daycare, and there was a mom at this breastfeeding class who had twins. And I vividly remember her sitting there changing from one to the other. And she was just totally capable of 2.
Damn.
And I had never felt so incapable in my life. And now she's a very good friend of mine, and her kids are very good friends with my son. But I remember I told her, wow, the first time I saw you, this is the situation. And truly, I just felt so overwhelmed. And it was because she was asking me for help, and she was apologizing for asking me for help. Aww. And she was like, I'm really sorry, but like my sisters are all out of town and so is my mom. Would you be able to? And I was like, of course. Yeah. And she felt so bad about asking me for help. And I told her, the first time I saw you, like you were serenely taking care of 2 kids. Like, oh my gosh, it's fine that you ask for help once in a while. And she told me, she's like, well, that was because I have 3 sisters and my mom. And so they were staying with me Like, I don't know how anybody could do it otherwise.
Yeah.
And it was, again, that whole concept and having context, right? To take a moment
Yep.
and be like, oh, and realize everybody who's actually in that room. I live in this town. I know them all now because their kids go to school with my kid. They all have a community of help because they
Right.
didn't immigrate somewhere else where they don't have extended family and they don't have anyone to call. And so if they were scattered and needed to sleep, they had somebody to hold their baby while they did so. I didn't have that. And having that context, and people just don't talk about it enough. If I had heard anybody say, take a moment for yourself and stop comparing, because if you don't have the same type of community support or the same type of familiar support, or that you're probably doing just fine. You're
Yeah.
actually going through a torturous situation that they do in war, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that you're holding yourself together is pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
just sit with the fact that you're getting through it. I wouldn't have suffered anywhere near as much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't have suffered anywhere near as much. So every time, and I'm very grateful that you bring this up often, because I think it needs to be, it's not a taboo, and it needs to be talked about. And the more people talk about it, the more others start to recognize that, one, it does take a community, whether we like it or not. It takes a community. And so be part of that community in whatever way you can be,
Yeah.
even if it's just showing some amount of moral support at work. Like, be part of that community in whatever way you can be. And two, for women who are going through it, knowing this might be awful for a while, but like, other people have survived it. And so it's okay for me to say it's really awful, and nobody's going to think worse of me because somebody else has gone through this and has openly said it's really awful sometimes.
Yep. Yep.
Makes it okay. And making that okay actually helps the mother be better,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Because
true.
it takes the shame away from things. And shame is such a powerful thing that is not good for anyone, right?
I
and
totally
and
agree.
I think parenting is so hard on its own anyway. Being a mom and going through all of those different things and challenges, a lot of shame comes with it because you don't really know what, like, how you're going to react. And also, every kid is different, and so
Oh
you're a
yeah.
different mom, right? You're
It's
different. If you have more than one, turns out you end up being a different mom, and you're at a different phase in your life and at a different age and a different everything. And you don't know how one might affect you in comparison to another.
yeah.
So being open about that empowers other women who are going through it to be like, okay, it's okay that I think this is awful,
Yeah.
because turns out it is. But it will be short lived. Like, there is another phase coming, and so I'll get through it, and I'll ask for help,
Exactly.
and I'll be okay. So thank you for always bringing things like this up and advocating for it, because it's really important. And for the dads and the men who are around working with us, they want to be helpful. Like, I've yet
Yeah.
to meet a man that doesn't think that their own mother is a superwoman. um it like their moms, their sisters. When you look at, and I always say this, in the techie world, people get really into manga and superhero things. This is true. It's not just a weird stigma. It's not everyone, right? But there is like a subset of us that like these things. But almost all of that is written by men, and inevitably the most powerful characters are women. Even the
So
Lord of the Rings, the powerful person who like takes away the ring is a woman. It was written by a man. And so I think oftentimes we lose sight of that as well.
yeah.
Like,
So
there are
true.
a lot of men out there who are advocates and who want to be supportive and they want to be helpful, but they don't know what to do. And so unless we have these conversations, they can't be
Yeah.
expected to be helpful because they don't know.
Yeah. And by like raising that awareness so that they know like what we're going through. I mean, yeah, you go through it to a certain extent with your spouse if your spouse has had a child and you know you're you're helping to raise, but it's it's a different vibe to, I think oftentimes when you're in your own little world, you think, oh, this only applies to me.
Yeah.
And then to have other
Exactly.
people talk about it, you're like,
Oh.
oh, that happens to others. Like, when I was pregnant, I was so grateful to be pregnant because we wanted a child, but like, oh my God, I fucking hated being pregnant. And I think both can exist, like
Yes.
I did not love how my body changed. I'm sorry. I
It's
was used to running around and climbing, and then I couldn't.
No, I
Um,
envy the women who are like, I love being pregnant. And for the longest time, I was like, I wish I did, but oh my God, can this just end? Like, I
yeah,
am
yeah.
so uncomfortable and I am so swollen and I am so sick, and I am so sick of thinking about every last little thing that I eat. And I really just miss caffeine. And it's just like,
I know, like, am I allowed to do this? I can't eat sushi. Oops, I ate goat cheese by accident. I'm fucked. I
yeah,
had a
can I
full-on panic
just have a
attack
piece
because I
of
had a bit of
sliced
goat cheese.
turkey because it's in the
Yeah,
fridge and I don't have to cook it? Oh my God, turns out I
yeah,
can't. What
yeah.
is listeria anyway? I don't even know what it is, but I'm so
Right?
afraid of getting it. Like, it was just
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, all these things you
weird.
have to worry about that, unless you're in it, you don't know.
Exactly.
So to be able to talk about that, and have these conversations openly, and make it a safe space for other, moms to be, to have, to know, like, yeah, we got you. We've been through it. It'll be okay.
It'll
You
be
can
okay.
you can bitch
Yeah.
about it too. It's okay.
Well, and
I
to
think that's
hear
important.
all sides of the story, right? There will be women, and I'm so grateful for them. The ones who are like just by nature super motherly and caring and totally fine with setting themselves aside and being so and so's mom. Those women exist, and they should have a platform and voice. But also, turns out, at least in my experience, they're not the majority. They're part of. There's not really a majority. Everyone's experience is different and unique, but there are certain things that tie us all together, like the lack of sleep and the overwhelming rage at your husband for not waking up. And like like those things are real and they happen to all of us at the end of the day. And so making spaces to talk about that is helpful for everyone. And I don't care how uncomfortable it might make some people. At the end of the day, they're uncomfortable because they're struggling to hear things that they didn't know, and probably feel bad that they weren't able to provide more support, right?
Yeah, so
And
true.
and so it's important for them to be uncomfortable so that the next time they aren't uncomfortable with the situation.
Exactly. We got to normalize this at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Well, we are coming up on time, but before we wrap up, do you have any parting words of wisdom?
I don't consider myself to be very wise. I think my parting words of wisdom, it's a quote that I personally really like by Winston Churchill. If you're going through hell, keep going. Like, don't stop there.
Right
So
on
if
it.
if you're having a bad day, like, just keep going. Keep going. The sun will come up tomorrow. It's a new opportunity. Go running to it with your arms open for something better. It's a new day. Start over. But yeah, if you're going through hell, keep going. Don't stop there. Just keep trucking through, and tomorrow will be a better day. That's it. That's how I try to get through my weeks.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's such a great quote. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you so much, Courtney, for geeking out with me today. Y'all don't forget
Yeah.
to subscribe and be sure to check the show notes and additional resources to connect with us and our guests on social media. Until next time.
Geeking out and piecing out.
Geeking Out is hosted and produced by me, Adriana Vilela. I also compose and perform the theme music on my trusty clarinet. Geeking Out is also produced by my daughter, Hannah Maxwell, who incidentally designed all of the cool graphics. Be sure to follow us on all the socials by going to bento.me/geekingout. Geeking Out will be taking a short break for the holidays, but expect all new episodes starting in early January 2026. Peace out and geek out.